Hey everyone, Mickey Yamahas here. Going to cover my capstone project titled The Cloud is Not Clean, Building Sustainable AI Literacy at Work. I love to travel, but I don't build planes or fly them, although I do think that'd be really cool. And as a child, I always wanted to be a pilot, but nonetheless, I trust the professionals who have the experience and the knowledge to understand the systems that they're using to get me where I need to go. Yet, in many workplaces, we're asking everyday employees to begin using AI without giving them anything resembling a flight simulator session. Uh, these are powerful tools, and in many instances, we're not giving them very powerful training. So that disconnect has led me to my research question, which is, can exposure to AI infrastructure, efficiency, and sustainability concepts inside a corporate AI enablement program change how non-technical employees understand and use AI? So there are two main conversations when AI and sustainability are discussed together. The conversation often centers on AI for sustainability. This typically includes things such as using AI for climate forecasting, precision agriculture, smart grids, and other environmental applications. The second conversation that you'll usually hear examines AI's own environmental footprint, including its demands for electricity, water, hardware, and I'm sure if you've been listening to the news, data center infrastructure. The tension between these two conversations as the AI environmental sustain it essentially leads to a bit of a paradox, right? So, in one corner, AI may help address environmental challenges while simultaneously growing its own environmental negative footprint. Uh, Although this concept informed a lot of my literature review, my project doesn't attempt to develop or measure sustainable AI itself. Instead, my Design Labs project focuses on building AI awareness and literacy among non-technical employees. For most employees, the infrastructure, right, what we were talking about a moment ago, behind these systems remains largely invisible. A laptop doesn't show you its emissions, right? Uh, that said, the energy, the cooling, the data centers, and the physical hardware that are being used every time you're logging into Netflix or YouTube or me recording this video right now are very real. So the gap that I identified was that employees are increasingly being encouraged to use AI without necessarily understanding how those systems operate, what resources they require, what they cost, or how to use them with any sort of intention. Design Labs addresses the gap by helping employees develop the awareness needed to make more thoughtful, efficient, and hopefully more sustainable decisions in their everyday use of AI and generally technology. So, to explore the problem, I designed a 12-week workplace learning program, which is called Design Labs. The program includes 30 volunteer employees. These are all people who signed up that showed a willingness, and they span across sales, service, training, and operations. The project uses, I'm still in it, a mixed methods approach, including a baseline, a midpoint, and final survey. There are points for participant reflections and observations from my program leads who are sharing that back with me. And for the sake of this presentation, I'm discussing early results just from the first 4 weeks. There's a green ops portion of the program, right? So think about sustainability of software when you're thinking about green ops, right? So how sustainable is the software that you're using? what are its emissions, what is the intensity of the carbon that it's producing. And that was intentionally framed around things such as efficiency, cost, and making reasonable decisions in their day-to-day work, rather than asking them to think about these things from a purely environmental or sustainability lens, as these individuals, that's not their wheelhouse, right? So the goal is to make the concepts practical for the work that they're already doing and within the confines of the 12-week program. Uh, I use the Kirkpatrick model, which helps structure my evaluation of where this pilot is and how it's been going so far. At this stage, I can reasonably examine their reactions and early signs, but it's obviously way too early to determine if any of this behavior is going to have lasting change or have ripple effects throughout the organization. As I said, this is only up until week 4 out of 12 weeks. There are some encouraging patterns, but again, early, so I don't want to overstate. Participants' self-reported awareness of AI infrastructure and financial costs increased from 6.4 to 8. That's on a 10-point scale. Confidence remained flat, so this stayed at a 6.6. One possible interpretation is that the participants developed a more realistic understanding of what they didn't know, right? So maybe as they began to learn more about AI infrastructure, they realized how much they didn't know. That said, it's also reasonable that within the first 4 weeks of the program, there just simply wasn't any increase, right? It's still very early. And so the data that I have is not sufficient to distinguish between, what those differences would be. Uncertainty or anxiety increased from 3.2 to 4.6. That can sometimes support reflection. It's also possible that the program had introduced new concepts without yet giving deep enough explanation and encouragement and ways to relieve some stress of those concepts, right? For there to be like management from the participant side. So again, still very early on to call anything definitively. The strongest evidence that I have so far is qualitative. At the baseline, participants across the cohort would describe efficiency primarily as saving time, helping them send faster emails, review documents more quickly, things of that nature. After the first 4 weeks, their responses began to include ideas around financial costs, energy use, model choice, token usage, and wasted AI use. One of my favorite quotes from a participant is that, and quoting now, understanding the economy of AI usage in order to maximize output while minimizing cost and energy use. That's great. And the language is starting to connect to my research question, but that doesn't mean that they have a deep, genuine understanding. It could be that they are just increasing their fluency in their vocabulary, which is a good thing to begin with. But I don't want to overstate the claim that they understand what all of those concepts mean yet. It may just be that they're starting to build their vocabulary around those concepts. In order to gauge if those concepts are sticking, there's going to be a midpoint survey. Actually, I'm sending this week, that is going to test whether participants can apply those same concepts to new scenarios. So ones that we haven't already gone over in the program itself. So did the program work? Maybe. As I keep stating, it's early. And 4 weeks of a pilot isn't going to determine whether or not there's lasting behavior change or organizational change. Um, so they're early evidence, but The most durable outcome is the framework itself. It brings together FinOps for AI, the Green Software Foundation Software Carbon Intensity Framework, and the NIST AI Management Framework, and the Kirkpatrick model. Together, these frameworks connect things such as financial cost, energy use, responsible governance, learning, and workplace behavior in a way that can be reused and improved for future cohorts. Um, Super happy that I was able to work on a capstone that gave me so much ability to kind of lean into the things that I was just starting to learn more and more about it. I felt like I had a lot of inertia in different places, and so sidebar, like I became a FinOps certified practitioner only because of Mesh, only because of my capstone and kind of the learning that it took me through. Same thing with the Green Software Foundation, learning software carbon intensity. And so I think these pillars really highlight the interdisciplinary nature of Mesh and the things that I've learned and uh, the flexibility, I guess, that I've had throughout the program to learn in a way that made the most sense for the things that I'm working on. So, to wrap us up, the largest environmental decisions involving AI are still being made by the developers of these models, the hyperscalers who are operating these data centers, and our policymakers. It's not one employee who's taking their 3 paragraph long prompt and making it 1 paragraph, right? Um, and I don't want to overstate the responsibility that one employee has by being slightly more efficient while they're typing into Gemini or ChatGPT or another LLM. That being said, without basic literacy, employees cannot recognize waste. They can't ask informed questions. They can't challenge unnecessary use. And they can't participate meaningfully in the governance of these systems as these systems are being built. So, my Capstone Design Labs does not teach employees how to build a plane. It does help them understand more about what's happening behind the flight and gives them the ability to ask whether every trip really requires a plane in the first place. So, with that being said, safe travels to everybody. Cheers to an amazing program. I can't believe it's coming to an end. I'm still in shock and I'm forever grateful. And thanks.